Let's get it going. Toronto Ultra, Seattle Surge, second match of our final day of online matches before we head down to Major #1 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome back, pucking alongside aLLeY and Nameless. And we're going to start the day by talking about Seattle Surge, aLLeY, because this is a squad that kind of shocked us with their 0-2 start, right? No one saw that coming in because it's a top 3 team from the CDL. But now that we switched out the M4, Pred has come to life on the SMG. He dropped some huge numbers for us, and Seattle gets their first win this week.
And I think the biggest surprise when it comes to Seattle Surge, mostly not only their 0-2 start, but their 0-4 search and destroy record right now. This is a team last year where that was their shining light at the end of the season, and to see them struggle this early is very worrisome.
Now, I do want to say this is a lot of pressure on all the teams perform, but a lot more on Ultra here because they're fighting for that top seed. For Seattle, you're going to have to win out of your group no matter where you're going to land in this one. But there is a player on that on that Seattle squad I want to call out. Lamar's cousin has been in the hospital for the last 48 hours. He has been there with his cousin the entire time except for team practice in the matches. The captain putting a lot on his plate this week, and if he's able to have another big game, he is going to be my stud of the week. For Toronto Ultra, though, I'm going purely by the numbers here. Standy has been my stud of the week here, Nameless. 1.4 from the young man on the far left.
Yeah, he was nuts. In that game, too, search and destroy, he was like 14-7, just making every play that he could. Having the SMG out more often than not, this guy has been lights out for this team, and that's what they wanted. Looking at Standy last year, he was an incredible search and destroy player, and Toronto looked great in that mode, once again winning 2 of those versus Atlanta FaZe. But on top of that, the hardpoints were extremely close. So this is a formidable respawn team. And it's hard to predict in this one because on one side I look at Seattle and I'm like, Seattle, probably the better hardpoint team. Toronto, the better search team. It's really map specific at this point. We'll learn a lot in this one.
Are we going to a game 5, Nameless?
I think we're going to a game 5.
Let's take a look at the maps and modes, aLLeY. I need to get your prediction. Who comes out on the top? Because we got Embassy, Fortress, Hotel, Mercado. Make it quick.
Honestly, I'm going to go with the Seattle Surge here. I think for me it's going to be a Civ versus Scrap battle throughout this one.
Nameless?
I'm going Toronto Ultra 3-2.
There we go. Let it be known in chat. Are you going Ultra? Put a 1. Are you going Surge? Put a 2. We got 2 dads on the mic right now. It's Lando and Studdy. Fellas, take it away.
Thank you so much, Puckett. Yes, indeed, my friend. I'm excited to get into this series. I tell you what, Jay, I eyed this one up coming into it. We felt like it could have a game 5 written all over it. The desk seems to think the same, and right now both teams trying to end out Major 1 in a hot way, and right now both of them off of some major W's as well.
Yeah, if you're Seattle, you're happy as hell that you were able to get your last win versus London, who were looking really hot, and you did that by winning both of your hard points. On the opposite side, Toronto Ultra coming off of that series versus Atlanta FaZe, everybody was swinging, but nobody could stop Standy. That guy was a 1.4 in that series, over a 1.2 in every single mode. Look at the stats right there. He's insane. So I'm really looking forward to the battle between him and Pred today because we know those are both some stellar SMG players.
Well, here we go into Embassy game #1, and as you said, man, I mean, it has to feel good if you are Toronto, without a doubt, right? I mean, like I said, this has been a roster that after week 1 people quickly started to critique, right, in terms of like, you know, is this going to be better than the team last season? And we kept bringing up the stat, like last 10 games versus Atlanta FaZe weren't able to take it. This new Toronto team, they're able to do it. I mean, with the new roster coming together, that has to infuse them with quite a bit of confidence.
Oh, without question, especially to beat a team like Atlanta FaZe in your 3rd match on the season. You're probably thinking, all right, we're going to have some jitters. Scrap has never been in this position before, especially playing at such a high level versus a team like Atlanta FaZe, but he wasn't afraid of the moment. This entire Toronto roster is not afraid of the moment. They got some vets in Insight and CleanX. These guys will be able to rally the troops when needed. And with that young talent, man, it's very scary because they do have that slaying ability.
Yeah, they do indeed. It was a full-on P1 start from Seattle Surge. A good look at that, and really off the rip, Toronto Ultra, they play it passive, they hold their lanes, and we'll see if it does end up working out for them. A big investment in P2. As the nades come on through, Insight dodging bullets, dodging nades, firing out some shots, and he takes the head clean off of accuracy.
So far, this has been a great hold from Toronto to have a response on that P1 because giving up 33 seconds on P1 is not ideal, but a great hold on this P2, forcing all of Seattle Surge to continuously spawn at orange. And now you see them trying to flip the map now. They want to make sure they're getting that rotation over towards AC. It's going to be scrapped already there off the rotation. They got themselves right back into this game. Final 20 should be Seattle's, but big picture, Toronto Ultra win.
Oh, look at the angle that he's coming from, too. Great work from Scrappy. As you said, an investment really in the long term, and it's absolutely going to pay off for them. So last few seconds, they're going to lay vacant. Seattle on the bitter end of that, and now they're going to have to force the uphill battle. Scrappy, the rookie, vacant the place nice and early. Toronto off to a good start so far throughout this HP. Held down things at P2, and really they played the chess game at the end of the day when it comes down to P3 as well. Current tie game, Hill lays vacant. Here comes Mack, 2 players to challenge. Trades really either which way, but accuracy as the dust settles. He's inside of the hard point now.
Yeah, that was beautiful work right there from Seattle to slowly work on that pinch. It was Simp who works his way in towards top PD. He finds that player lurking, trying to watch that cut. Once that happens, you see the spawns flip as Seattle Surge are putting pressure as well from top AC. So they were able to get this remaining time. Final 25. They are in control of the spawns, but Mack's in a powerful position. A couple players from Toronto Ultra already puts up towards top plat. He has a big kill. Unfortunately, does not win it. So now Toronto Ultra with the man advantage off the rotation.
And really, Seattle, as we said, buddy, I mean, this has been their game mode, one that they've relied on mightily. The stats enforce it and then some. Number 1 in rotating, number 2 in breaking, and number 3 in holding. They do a great job at really pretty much everything when it came down to that last hill. We'll see if they can put breaking to good use again, as they will be forcing the uphill battle once more. Is a clean 4 down for Toronto, and right now at the office, Jay, how do they look to break this?
Oh, it all starts with that first kill onto Scrap. Now it opens up that back single doorway, so you can potentially push from side street and from this back single. Unfortunately, a team kill is not going to help the situation, especially when you're not winning the trade gunfights. That's going to be 3 dead. Last player up is Pred towards street. He does find one, but eventually he should get traded. And Toronto Ultra, they hold for the first push. And with it being the final 30 seconds, you have to make sure you're rotated if you're Seattle, especially when you're going over towards that kitchen hill.
Yeah, and that hurts, right? When it comes down to this hard point, as Standy finds himself on 5 in a row for a short term. You can see, like, Pred, right, with the SMG in hand, the current meta, he's trying to go off. Obviously, just feels like the right hard point for him. That teammate comes through, and it instantly halts a lot of progress coming through from Surge. Well, speaking of Pred, he very well could find a second one on the flank. An interesting battle, as we mentioned, coming into this hard point is going to be himself versus Standy. One of their first duels of the game. As we head in toward our last hard point of the first set of rotations, Seattle here nice and early. Toronto once again on the break, and here come the kills. A quick 2 for 2 in terms of the trade. Simp tries to arrive, gets here right on cue. Standy having to halt the push.
Yeah, now if you're inside, you just have to take your time, allow your teammates to pinch through the back, and he does that perfectly. As accuracy does take down 2. Accuracy trying to go for all 3 in towards the point. This would be a big kill if he can pick this one up, but Scrap, he's doing everything to hold this down for Toronto. What a great play by him to just lay down, stall time, get that 2-piece, allow Standy to get into the play, and they should allow that to be that final 20 seconds to allow Ultra to now grow this lead a little bit more. The only thing now is you do not want to allow Seattle Surge to get another 33 seconds off P1, because that is unacceptable. That's the way that they get back into this one.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto, in terms of the statistics and whatnot, I mean, the holding has been the problem, and right there, an excellent job coming through from the Ultra. By the way, Standy 16 and 10 through our first side of rotations, picking up from where he left off versus the Atlanta FaZe. Very well could be the thorn in the side for Seattle. We talk about SMG battles. I mean, we come into this talking about how Pred probably the best one in the lobby, but Standy trying to make a case for the opposite, as it is just trade after trade. Both teams trying to vie for P2 spawns, while also trying to leverage a very contest-heavy P1. Seattle currently locking things down. Insight, meanwhile, cutting a few players off the cross, thinking about the future.
Yeah, Insight just trying to be that early player for Toronto to hit that rotation. There is a player in Simp who's at least playing it nice and patient, but great shots from accuracy from the top window. Not really a lot of time going to either squad off of this P1, but right now map control is in favor of Seattle. They're slowly trying to work up towards the street side. PaulEhx has to try to go massive in this position. He's going to get a little bit of assistance from Standy, but the gunfights across the map are all going to be won by Seattle, and that's going to be 3 dead. What a hold so far at the start of this hill.
And what a setup this is already turning out to be for Surge as well. Toronto, they've got to make this cross. They've got to be careful. They're trying to dolphin dive, dodge some nades, and watch out again for accuracy, who finds himself in that mid lane. In fact, they've got 2 players in the mid lane, but they do clear out a few from the point, so it will be open for the time. Pred has to go for the rotation, having a phenomenal game up to this point. Seattle nearly are going to grab this advantage, nearly going to grab the lead, but Pred ends up dropping 3. Fall for Surge, and Toronto finally are able to rush on in.
Yeah, Toronto get the break, but now if you are Surge, you got yourself right back into this game. You need a flawless AC hold. You cannot allow a pinch to come into PD, but you also can't lose your gunfights off that rotation. So now one player does drop back. aBeZy, aGeRy with the shank. Hits him with the Mike Myers in the staircase. He still does not have any bullets. Somebody get him a gun. Oh, unfortunate. He drops right there before picking up that airstrike, but his teammate in Mack is in a great position off this rotation to get this initial time.
My goodness, it just felt like aGeRy was going to fight you there for a moment. Runs out of ammo. That's really been the game so far from Lamar. And great little performance coming through from him. As Simp trying to do some work as well with attack through the mid-map, looking to clear out a few of these excess waves from Toronto. I know those arrows are currently pretty dark, but I promise you, Seattle, right now they find themselves inside of the hill. Toronto trying to make the break. Here comes Pred. Too many numbers in Toronto in control of that top lane. That could get very scary when we talk about this P3 to P4 rotation coming up next, Jay.
Yeah, and that was all on the inside right there. Once he gets towards top PD, he's able to get that first gunfight, allow his teammates to eventually hit the trades on the point. And this final 15 should be there. There's a huge gunfight between Scrap, and Scrap is able to win it with that Vaznev in hand. But even with Scrap getting that junk time, Seattle Surge, they're going to win a couple gunfights across the map. They should be set up fully off the rotation for this P4. The only player that can possibly break their setup is going to be Standy. He finds that first.
Not only does he find that first, but he's also able to give a bit of information over to his teammates. But Mack cuts them all down. Info or not, we call it currency, but Mack is the one at the top of it. Great work coming through from Mackenzie. A few of his teammates begin to fall, and it's the Surge on the other side. This time for Toronto. Standy with 4, Kleenex and Scrap combined with 4. Ultra, an excellent break. 200-point mark reached, and it is starting to be panic time for Surge.
And right there, it was all communication for Toronto. You saw how slow Scrappy was playing towards that back single door. He was waiting for the pistol coming from side. But enough of that. Standy is not messing around. Already finds himself in a 7-3. He does drop 30 and 17 with an airstrike to work with. Oh, man, Toronto Ultra looking to run away with this game. You cannot invest this streak going into this Kitchen Hill. It's not going to be that impactful, but it's all about this rotation. Can Insight pick up the skill and accuracy playing this tight corner?
See if he can do it. Watches the shots come in. Great patience there from Jamie Craven as he'll look to try to join himself alongside a Scrap. Hand in hand go the ARs. Pred causing some problems, however, inside of the kitchen. We'll try to time this one up nicely. Toronto just really one break away potentially from calling this one curtains, and it's really gonna be the pinch. Kleenex and Scrap from one side. aGeRy at least able to find 2. Insight doing everything he can to try to crawl inside of the hill, at least contest a little bit. Back and forth we go. Seattle still locking things down for the moment. Toronto not giving this one up just yet.
They're holding strong. They're holding strong on the back of aGeRy's massive 3-piece to get this remaining 25 seconds. Should only put the game at about a 15 to 20 point lead for Toronto Ultra. Going to our third rotation of hardpoint. Standy trying to be a little round. Unfortunately, gets snipped out right there by Pred. Both of the SMGs for both squads are having a stellar game number 1. But here we go. Third rotation. Either squad can walk away with this. It's going to be Seattle with the other time.
Yeah, man. Seattle have brought this one back. Toronto with a major advantage, but that's how it works in Modern Warfare 2. You hold down a hill, and you can quickly be right back in the game. Both teams, as we said, got to balance, right? You want to have some time at P1, but you also want to prefer those spawns for next. Scrappy, the rookie, just trying to gain some information, work with the squad mates on where Seattle could be. More specifically, where is players like aGeRy hiding? Same thing can be said for Mack. Both of those players have been on streaks lately. The nice beams
shots
come through from Scrap. He'll wipe away a few off of the point. Seattle toward the bottom side of the map, Toronto from the top. And I think it's been a total of 2 seconds so far grabbed at P1.
Yeah, right now, Scrap is just a safety net for Toronto. He's allowing all of his teammates to try to fight for that spawn. Gunfights are trading back and forth. Even when his team goes 3 dead, Scrap with that massive 2-piece keeps Seattle off of the point. Now off the rotation, Seattle will be set up early. Once again, Toronto find themselves in a situation where they got to push out towards back kitchen. But this is where you can potentially use that streak. The airstrike is going to come in. No hit detections or any hit markers, as Seattle are going to do a great job of just hopping off of that point. So the streak is going to be useless, and they get right back on it. Toronto have to get some pressure through the middle of the map.
They do indeed. Pred trying to cut him down, but KiSMET is there for the cross. Mack, meanwhile, has to be the sole man inside of the objective, trying to lock things down. But here comes Simp. Here comes Simp.
Oh!
He's able to find 2. And what a big moment that is for Surge as they continue to feel life. Toronto, do they go for the break or do they go for the rotation? It feels like they have 2 players trying to go for the late hit. However, they can't make the cross. Mack is here, able to wipe away 1. And here we go, off to the rotation.
Here we go. Accuracy does find the first, able to take down Insight. He was going to be the only player here. Mack finds a second. Simp with the third. Look like Seattle are going to put themselves in a position to close out this game. One more hold.
Oh, but KiSMET is only able to find 1. Mack, he knows where they got to be coming from. Watch the ladder, and there it is. Seattle Surge are able to bring it back after a hotly contested aBeZy all the way through. My goodness, what a start to this series.
What a start.
That was chaos,
my friend. That was nuts. That was nuts, man. The way that Seattle were able to clutch up towards the very end. It all started at that kitchen hill. We thought Toronto put themselves in a great position when Insight won that gunfight towards back alley. They had the numbers in the trade advantage. But then Accuracy goes massive with a 3-piece, pulls out that final couple of seconds, and it keeps the game really close. Both teams keep it scrapping for P1, but Seattle, they won a majority of the gunfights off that rotation to P2 to put Toronto Ultra in that trap, to force him to continuously spawn towards back kitchen. That's exactly how you want to set up. You get a guy mid hedges, he has the cross. It makes it so difficult for any player on the Ultra to cross over to that point. And then Toronto do a great job of just contesting that point, not allowing Seattle to win that battle or win that game off of that hill. And then off the rotation, I thought it was going to be Insight. When he climbs up that ladder, he would have had a great timing. But Seattle Surge, they take him down. Mack finds a second on the point, and then Simp with the third. At that point, it's very difficult. 3 men down, 1 player off, trying to hit that hill. Very difficult to do. Seattle Surge hold strong when they need to in those final moments. Beautiful rotation to close out map number 1. A much needed one at that, because we know their struggles in Search and Destroy so far in the season.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely meant a lot more for Seattle than it did for Toronto. There is no doubt about that. But I mean, we'll kind of look throughout the highlights, man. I want you to have a chance to break down the end of that little rotation. We'll see how many clips we have of it, but it just felt like little by little, Toronto, despite the nice little knives at times coming in from Accuracy and Seattle Surge, they really started to pull away, right? The nice little break over at the office really put them in the driver's seat. You see it there, 186 to about 140. And then from there, man, it was just all about the comms. It was all about trying to stay composed. I mean, Standing was going on sprees. KiSMET was having moments. And then from here on out, Jay, walk me through it, man.
Yeah, so this comes down to the final hill. Obviously, we're at P1. This so Scrap is able to find that 2-piece, keep him off for that time. But when we get to the end of this hill, this is when you see Seattle start to win a majority of these gunfights. Big 2-piece comes in from Simp to save that time, but then off the rotation, just more bodies at that next hill for Seattle than it was Toronto. It's because they had a 2-2 split. They knew that they could potentially win off that old time at P2, and then they only sent 2 players off the rotation. Seattle did a great job of just taking them down at that old point and still having the numbers off the rotation. Very, very well played hard point between both of these 2 teams, but Seattle, they are the one that take it.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, it just feels like shades of Toronto are everywhere. When we talk about that old roster, I know Minnesota has struggled to win opening hard points, and then obviously we have the other 2 members from that old Toronto team still here with the Ultra, and now that is going to be, I believe, 3 straight opening hard point losses. So a big one for Ultra to lose, but again, as we said, considering how both of these teams sit when it comes into Search and Destroy, definitely means a lot more for Seattle, all things considered. Sweat off the brow, for sure. If you are a fan of this team, the way they're able to bring that one back, hopefully, Jay, is a sign of things to come. I'd love to have a few more like that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm expecting it. So far, Modern Warfare 2 has treated us to some really, really good hardpoint matchups. Even that last series versus Vegas, like, they clutched up in that map number 4 at the very end. So far, the game has been great, but now you see the faces of the Toronto Ultra players. They need a bounce back. And if you're them, I'm not really too worried, because now you're going into a Fortress Search and Destroy. They got a couple reps on it, and they're also playing against Seattle, who haven't really found success in S&D in general. They are 25% round win percentage on the defensive side. That's terrible. And then even on their retakes, if you are Toronto in this situation, just get the bomb down. Seattle are 0-12 on their retakes when it gets that bomb down in a certain situation. That's the worst in the league. You cannot have that. So if you are Seattle, there's a lot of things that you can interest or at least adapt to in this game, because we know how they play. It's going to be accuracy watching the cross, and if they do not push out towards the bomb site, they're trying to hit that flank. Hopefully today they come with some new strats.
Yeah, without a doubt. Scrap. Rookie making some great plays at Search Destroy so far throughout the season for Toronto. They've won 3 S&Ds in a row. We'll see if they can make it 4. And as you said, Jay, it just feels like for Toronto, hey, man, get the bomb down, right? It's a little easier said than done. However, versus the Seattle team, it's been one of the easier strats without question versus a bunch of teams in the CDL. Get the bomb down could be your key to success. However, Surge will start things off on attack. As here we go, quickly into the Fortress Search and Destroy. And really, Jay, it is all about this A site when we talk about Fortress. Still yet to see a plant over at that B site.
Oh, and accuracy finds a good first blood onto Standia. Kind of a delusional chop from Simp. I don't know what the hell that was, but he just jumps out, gives up his life for free. Pred immediately there for the trade. 3v2.
Seattle with numbers. Accuracy, however, he falls toward P1. Now on to Mack and Pred. As KiSMET will look to make the long rotation. Maybe join his good old buddy in sight. Prior chemistry, without a question, has got to be there, but the Aussie still remains. Bomb has fallen at that A objective, but 40 seconds still to work with. And I guess you could say maybe the right weapon, considering his current place on the map right now.
Yeah, he finds himself in a good position, but he's just waiting for that dead silence to come in. Now the pop is going to be on. Got to pick up this bomb, but the information comes in from KiSMET as he calls out the cross. Inside turns his head, and Inside lines up the shot. Great first round right there from Ultra, even after getting first blooded. Because, you know, usually in the first couple of rounds in Search and Destroy, especially in round number 1, there's no trophy systems. That means it's all about the attacks. You can't play super aggressive towards that A site. That's why you see accuracy playing nice and slow towards the back truck. Hetty gets that first blood, but still, I felt like Simp just gave up his life for free. Even though they do win the trade advantage, you just can't be jumping out of top windows like that, man.
I mean, I'll say this, though. If he finds the kill, I think we kind of give him a little
different.
We give him a little bit of a salute, but I don't know, man. You got to give the guy definitely not props. As strictly as a commentator, I give him props, but from an overall play perspective, you know, maybe should have stayed alive. Regardless, here we go. In round number 2, as we set the strap for Toronto, plant the bomb. That's all you got to do. And well, they are starting things off quite nicely. The new additions showing up in spades. It is 2, either 3 in total already. And yeah, Scrap will walk him down the aisle. A great and clean round there for Ultra. Didn't have to plant the bomb there, Jay.
Yeah, right there, Seattle just looked like they wanted to come out with some different strategy. You have accuracy this time around, not playing that cross from bottom maps. He pushes up to the staircase while both of his SMGs tried to be aggressive in through hard, but they all just got picked apart. A very, very easy round right there for Toronto to now go up 2-0.
And as we said, a great little moment there for Scrap and for Standy. These two guys have been elite so far in Search and Destroy, both top 10 in KD right now. So far at Major I, Standy with a 1.28. We saw earlier Scrappy a 1.35. Just a number of different things for Seattle that you have to think about coming into this search. We got to make improvements. We also have to be aware of those two players. But thankfully, accuracy, able to put a first blood on the board. And the sniper is out for Scrappy. Can he find the pick? Yes, he does. Also stays alive. Wow. Great work for Toronto.
That was good work, especially from Toronto, because once Scrappy finds that kill, Pret put himself in a great position to get that trade, but Insight was there for the cover fire. So what could have been a 3v2 for Seattle was now a 3v2 in favor of Toronto. Standy finds himself in a great position in towards top art. Bomb's still going to be down at the back of stage. Sib is just going to take his time. You have Scrap watching the crossover towards B. His accuracy is just trying to line him up by laying down prone right behind those steps, but the timing might be in.
Oh, Scrappy not able to hit the shot. Sim ends up grabbing the bomb in the meantime. However, Insight's going to be there to drop him. A great cover fire situation again for Toronto, as it's all on the Iceman. One of the more difficult clutches that he'd have to make in his illustrious and long career. At least dodges a sniper bullet for the first, but yeah, that is not going to happen. Clean S&D from start to finish for Toronto. And Jay, as you said, man, once Scrappy finds that pick and then Pred comes around the corner, you could tell these guys are just aware of each other's positions.
Yep.
Great teamwork all the way around.
Yeah, communication is definitely on point for the Toronto boys, as Insight not only saved Scrap's life once, but twice on that round. Textbook search and destroy so far from Toronto Ultra. Now they're going into another attacking round where they're going up against the worst defensive team in the search and destroy. They made that first round look pretty damn easy. Now that they have some trophy systems to see how they play it now.
Utility tossed early. You're going to try to grab any advantage that you can. Make that soon to be, you'd expect, bomb plant that much easier. Insight off to a lovely 5-0 start. And Pred, first blood found again. Right, little bit of success for Toronto. And they're just going to continue to clean house. Sib gets found out toward top maps. And from there, it is easy pickings for the Ultra. They are making their way through this S&D awful quickly. We are already 4-0.
Yeah, Seattle, I'm not going to lie. You guys might have to just chalk this map up. It's not looking good. Defensive holds are not there. You're trying to consistently flank, and they're just picking you apart by changing up their positionings. Just great work from Ultra to know the game plan in Seattle while trying to execute and read it beautifully. This is textbook search and destroy. Seattle, Fortress S&D might have to get banned permanently for the rest of the year. This is not good.
Yeah, it's not looking great, my friend. Insight. Okay, well, at least you got a first pick, so that is a nice start and a nade. Okay. Seattle Surge, your first round of search destroyed looks to be going, well, a little bit nicely. Kleenex, is he feeling it? And he tosses out the stun. I guarantee if he was still looking that way, Jay, he goes for the challenge. However, maybe the wiser of the two is he and Tobias will look to try to retake this current 2 versus 3. The Sib lays down a few shots, pops Deddy. It looks like an A-bomb plant could be in their future.
Yeah, A-bomb plant is going to be in the works. Keep in mind the positioning right now of Scrappy. Just working his way through bottom art with that sniper pistol in hand. It's going to be both of the players from Toronto. Accuracy. Player watching that late flank is able to take down the first. Scrappy now in a 1v3 hits the shot. And unfortunately, there was not a gun to be picked up. So now he has a little bit more sniper to do.
Hold on a moment. At least he's able to single out Mack. Goes from a new POV. Shuts him down. One more to go. Scrap versus Sib. Goes right toward the bomb, but Sib is able to check it. Oh my goodness, it felt like Scrappy. He's been getting confronted. He's been getting loud. Nearly clutches out the 1v3, but it's Sib to put the first round on the board there for Surge.
And that's probably a totally different round right there. If Scrappy's able to, after he gets that first kill onto Accuracy, pick up an SMG. Like, instead of having that knife, once he hits that stun, he could potentially just go for the ego chow and possibly close it out. But when you have a sniper pistol in hand, those 1v3s get a little difficult. Great attempt, though. So now Seattle finally get their first round on the board. They just have to have an answer for defense. Scrap also earns himself that airstrike.
Yeah, they've got a few streaks to work with. This is not going to be easy for Surge, but see what they can do. See if they can find a nice little pick. Set themselves up quite nicely for what could be a second round. Toronto, as we said, the strategy, plant down the bomb. Yet to see them do so. The Surge getting themselves all kinds of cozy over toward P1. Pred admiring the paintings. Lovely artwork here on Fortress as he's forced to back on up. It could be Standy. Put in a position. Able to grab it.
Great repositioning right there from Standy to pick up that late flank. Finds that opening first kill. He still knows that Pred is on the attack, and he reads it beautifully. Now a 4v2. Mack does find the trade, but now it's all left up to Mack in the 1v3. He picks up that kill. His position is going to be known. Bomb is going to be getting planted. Insight throwing massive shoulders right there to just stay alive. Don't want to give up any 1v1 gunfights. It's now it's 40 seconds for Mack to work with.
Mack just trying to find the timing.
Oh.
Great work for the first 30 seconds on the clock, and he knows exactly where Insight's playing at. There's no doubt about it, and really just a matter of timings, just a matter of trying to know when they're going to peak, when they're going to chow. But I'll tell you what, man, that round, to me at least, just comes down to Standy, dude. He has just been on one so far to start off this season. Finds those 2 picks over near the stairs, and I mean, what, man? He finds a 1-for-2 trade and just instantly puts his teammates in a position to succeed. And it just feels like consistently Seattle in 1v2, 1v3 situations. And it does not help, again, as we said, if you're just not finding those first bloods.
Yeah, Standy, he actually did a lot more because he got that information of Pred being that aggressor in towards bottom art. He backs him down and then with the repositioning finds that 2-piece. So that's massive plays from him to now put Toronto Ultra at game point. Gonna play it nice and slow. Seattle slowly trying to work up towards this A bomb. Pred's gonna make sure no one's trying to hop up towards the corner window. As now the airstrike is going to get invested. Accuracy has to hit the repositioning, and then this potentially can open it up for Toronto. Once this streak gets done, you can push up and get a little bit more control of that A site.
Right pick from Accuracy. He's going to find Kleenex for the first. Try to hold that long cross as well. Make those doors a little bit easier for his teammates to run through. Toronto aware of the Dolphin dive, aware of the push that Surge are most likely going to make. Insight tosses one out, does great amount of damage there to Mack. Brought down to 20 HP. Good teamwork for Toronto to find the pick, but Seattle still with the numbers. A great one comes in from Sib, and it's all on to Scrappy. But look at the angle. Look at the positioning that he finds himself in. Back-to-back situations for him. The clutch, he's at least able to find one there. But Seattle stay alive. They avoid the streak, and there's their second round.
Yeah, that's good work from Accuracy to find that first blood, especially onto the player who's watching the overextension towards that B site, even though they're probably not going to hit it. Once you take that player down, now it forces Toronto to completely change their setup. A lane is going to be open. Someone has to pick it up. So then eventually they find that opening, pushing up towards that A bomb. Even though Mack does get taken down, they win the trade battle. And Seattle Surge, they stay alive just a little longer. Now down 5-2.
A lot's going to have to be adjusted as well, Jay. Like I said, another streak to avoid. Mack does find himself quickly in a corner, though. Scrap's going to be aware of it, but it's not just Mack, it's also Pred. They've adjusted. They go for an aggressive play here off the start. Are they going to find Scrappy? It looks like Standy. He's watching out for his teammates. Both rosters really putting themselves in a position, sacrificing their lives for the betterment of the team. Mack nearly gets singled out, but it's team shots again. As we find ourselves in a very chaotic current 2v1. Scrappy, he's been waiting, holding the angle. Accuracy's able to drop him. The aggression pays off for Surge. They're able to drop for the first, and they ride that momentum all the way home.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about if you're Seattle. Let's switch it up. Let's use our talent to the best of our ability. Let's allow our aggressive players to be aggressive on that A bomb, even though Pred was a little bit too aggressive right there. He does take that first blood and takes full control of that A site. Beautiful crossfire setup from Mack and Accuracy as well, as they win their very first defensive round of the map.
How about it?
Great work from them.
Got to see more of it. That's, that's the end of the discussion right there. Losing is learning. Oh, and Scrap nearly makes him pay. Snipe. The bullet just whistles past the Surge's ears as they try to get that bomb down nice and early. And it's the crossfire again. Added Toronto. They find the first blood. And what do? They back up. Why? Because we got a streak in play. Everybody duck and cover. Seattle stays alive for the moment.
So now in a 4v3, Toronto are not going to give up anything easy. You have to force this play to come to them. Insight still the player watching off this cross. He's able to spot Accuracy. Does anyone have any tax?
Wow.
Nope, we're just going to decide to go for the wall bang. Accuracy had 10 health. Has to try to stay alive, but Kleenex finds one.
Whew.
Accuracy with the trade, 3v2.
He's able to reply. Oh, it's Tobias doing some great work toward bottom art. Oh, but he's able to put in some bullets toward the back, and there you have it. Toronto Ultra looking clean throughout this search to destroy, and that is the reason, Jay, while we said Surge had to win the opening hardpoint. They're able to put the pieces together. They won 3 in a row toward the stretch, but it just felt like clean, comfortable, confident S&D out of the boys in purple as Toronto get on the board, now making a 1-1 series.
Yeah, Seattle just had to come out a little bit more fired up, because when you get that momentum from map 1, you got to come out in that very first round with the aggressor. You have to be the aggressor, because once you set the tone that on our defensive setup, we're going to try to work the flank multiple times. Like the first couple of defensive rounds, they were always trying to work that flank, but you see as soon as they turned up the notch, once they got a little bit aggressive towards A, it was success for them. Just a slow start to this search and destroy. Toronto Ultra simply didn't make any mistakes. Great buddy system from Insight and Scrap in those early couple of rounds to save each other's lives a couple of times, but just such a slow start from Seattle Surge. Toronto Ultra had that early momentum. They needed a couple rounds to close it out, and they do just that to now tie the series up at 1.
Indeed, indeed. Here are a look at our maps and modes. aBeZy Hardpoint with the way of Seattle, but Toronto turn it up in the Fortress Search and Destroy, giving well, Seattle another loss in this very map, or rather this very mode. Now 0-5, as we've got control coming up soon, and I guess the pressure now instantly rises for Seattle. It's not been easy for Surge fans so far throughout the MW2 season. It's like, hey, we can win hardpoints. Everything else, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but control at least does favor them a little bit easier. Current 1-1 score line, ladies and gentlemen. We come back after the break. We are headed to hotel for a lovely little 2-night stay. Stay with us.
Upgrade your game with a Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Call of Duty League. By the way, it is our last day of the Major I qualifiers. As we said, the Pro-Am is just next week. I keep getting caught off guard, but I'll tell you what, Jay, we are in the middle of a fantastic series going down between Toronto and Seattle Surge. We have leveled the score at 1-1, and now we head in to a pretty interesting hotel control. Walk me through it. How do both teams look so far when it comes down to this one?
Obviously, Seattle, they're looking a little bit better because they're 2-1. On the opposite side for Toronto, they have yet to play this control. So a lot of bot sessions that you can have on Seattle of how they like to play it. And it's usually on their defensive sides, all about that bedroom control. There's a bunch of demons that like to be in the bedroom. Can't allow that to happen if you are Toronto. But when you're talking about the Toronto Ultra roster, obviously they get the momentum off of that last search and destroy. If you are Seattle, you just have to make sure you're maintaining that pressure. Both of these squads are fairly good on the attacking rounds. They both average about 5.5 ticks each. Seattle being number 1, Toronto being number 2. So it's all going to just be about the defensive setups. Who can hold down bedroom the best?
Indeed it will be. I'm just excited.
Cammy.
Catch. Tell you what, man, Stady has been on point. I don't care what he's doing. He's got the AR in his hands, now with the VazDev in his hands. If he's got a grenade, the guy can do it all. We'll see exactly what Surge elect to do, as they'll be the ones on attack to kick off this round number 1. And really, that is great success on both sides of the map. It looks to be a collapse, however, on that B zone. Technically the more difficult of the two. A lot of teams preferring to go for that one off the rip. Seattle doing the same. First tick already done at B.
And that was all on the slow play right there from Mack to slowly work his way through bottom bedroom. Once he finds that 2-piece, Pred finds that opening kill through mid connector. So, now it's going to force Toronto Ultra to basically give up that B point. It's not easy to hold down this A point for 2 minutes, but some teams have had success doing it. Standy finds himself in a great position in towards carpets, finds the first, finds the second. Great 2-piece. That's going to be 3 down. Now they're in control of the map. They just have to hold strong towards this kitchen side. And
I guess the value if you're Toronto is like, yeah, you know, we did throw away the B point. However, we've got some absolute crack players on the SMGs, especially inside of the restaurant or inside of the kitchen. These boys can absolutely cook it up. Seattle, I mean, kind of forming a box on the map. You can see they're definitely trying to work out a few strats. How do we want to attack this? And I'll throw that question to you, Jay. What do you want to see Seattle do here?
It's slowly trying to work around the back. You see how they have 3 players committing towards the backside. If they take down inside, he will spawn all the way across the map. So you already put yourself in the trade advantage. But inside is able to find both players from that middle double arches area. And now it makes the slow play come in from accuracy. You have to take your time because you're the only player on this pinch. But still, that first kill has to start with insight.
Well, job done for the first. Fred, off that invoke, looks to make his way through. He will fall too. Seattle Surge, they know that somebody's going to be coming off spawn. They got to make a move quick. Scrap with one, Sib with the other. Seattle Surge finally able to take a look at this A objective. Maybe stop the time for the moment. Mack looks to set up shop while Sib continues to find some great kills toward the outside. Mack, he's got to check his left. Oh, he nearly snaps onto Standy. Pred is there for the ultimate trade. Surge with 2 members inside of the point, and really, it's about trying to get your other players out of spawn to join you there.
Yep, KiSMET is just playing like a rat. He finds a kill. Now Pred has to go back for the attack. He does find a trade with a little bit of assistance coming in from Sib. But so far, Toronto are holding strong. 30 final seconds. Seattle have like 1 or 2 more good pushes. What can accuracy do on this pinch? Unfortunately, his teammates are dropping. So accuracy has to make a big play on the flank.
We'll see if it actually ends up paying off. Like, you just kind of wonder as well. Like, he has not been involved in the fight from the front. He does not find a kill from the back. It's almost all for naught. Could it be a solid 2-minute hold over at the A zone for Toronto? We're about to find out. Here comes the collapse, and there they go. Patience does not end up paying out for Seattle, as Toronto will hold. And how about it? Oftentimes, Jay, it feels like A is pretty much chalked for the defense if they lose that other point pretty early. But Ultra showing us what they can do on it.
It's just a beautiful setup from Ultra, consistently putting pressure on towards kitchen. You're watching your middle arch, you're watching carpets, you're watching double arch, and then insight. It all starts when he finds that 2-piece initially off the rip, because I thought that was the best opportunity Seattle had at winning the round. You had 3 players committing towards the flank, but once that doesn't happen, just time is starting to dwindle. Accuracy slowly working around that pitch, doesn't find another kill again, and Toronto Ultra, perfect setup around that 8 points to take round 1.
Looks like Ultra at least favoring A off the start. Spread looks to be a bit of a problem over toward the carpets. Standy goes hunting for information, and at the end of the day, he will pay. A bit of a different look, right? Seattle Surge basically sent players toward both sides, quickly pounced on B. This time, Inside allows for his teammates to go hunting, find some info. But meanwhile, he has stopped that clock the entire time. Good work ultimately at the end of the day coming through from Toronto, as they've got this one locked down. 2 ticks through and about to be the third one. Seattle made sure to break this late.
Brett is playing it super slow from carpets, and unfortunately you take too long that you allow Toronto Ultra to close out this 8 point. Now 2 minutes to work with. Toronto Ultra hitting that rotation over. This is beautiful out of them because now they have somewhat of that bedroom control. Do they know the player in the back of their spawn, though, is going to be accuracy? He does take a couple shots, so his position is going to be known. But Seattle winning the trade battle. Scrap, you just had to play your life in towards top bed. This is a powerful position.
Big win from Scrappy. Trying to clear the board. Trying to make things a little bit easier for the teammates. Can he find 3? Goes for the drop shot. And it's not going to happen. And a very annoying accuracy toward the top left side of the map. Eventually falls. And now it's really both of Toronto's ARs putting in some decent damage as they look to make their way through the bedroom. Thankfully, the demon is not there just yet. Fred coming off the spawn. Toronto look to clear the waves, make their way through. Minute 15 on the clock, and they've got a few picks to work with. See as they make their first look officially as a squad into the B zone. Sim and Fred quickly to find a few. And there goes Scrappy as well. A great little style play coming through from Fred.
Toronto just needed to get a couple kills towards that bedroom position. Or at least stay alive in that situation. Now with them all dropping on that side, Seattle take full control of the bedroom. You're forcing now Toronto to hit that overextension all the way around. Kleenex, unfortunately, you didn't check your corner. Simp, great positioning right there to open up with that first kill. But Inside does take down accuracy. Now you can slow play to try to work towards your bedroom. But keep in mind where the positioning of Standy is. He's the cutoff man.
There he is. The demon indeed. Well, he eventually does fall, so job well done if you're Ultra. And there is 3, and here comes the stack quickly. If all 4 players are on the point, you can cap it in 11 seconds. Watch that objective begin to fly. Seattle, they're trying to pull in all kinds of strats. They're trying to hit a bunch of different angles, but they've got to be careful. Now only 2 members inside of the point. Can they hold them off? Yes, they will. Toronto does a decent amount of damage, but they've not fully captured that final segment at B. As here comes the final push now for Toronto. Can they seal the deal, or can Seattle put a roundup on the board themselves?
Yeah, it's going to be on Kleenex, the guy that's working towards his flank. You do not have any bedroom control, but it's all about this first kill. If you can get it, unfortunately, Mack starts off the trade fights. The great pick on the Scrap. Fred finds a second, and then the last 2 unfortunately drop right in the pre-aim of Sib. Seattle with a great break. Great break. Usually like to see a bunch of teams try to hit that through the backside of spawn, but this time they said, hey, we're all spawning towards Jules. We're going to attack this through the middle of the map. Accuracy, the last player up. You slowly try to work back towards our checkout desk. And they use their attacks beautifully to take down those trophies, find a couple kills, get the break at the right time. Seattle respond with a defensive round of their own. Now, they're just down 2 segments. You have to keep that in the back of your mind just in case you go into that round 5.
Yeah, it just feels like, toward the end, like you said, you do give away 5 segments overall, but it just felt like Seattle remained pretty composed, right? In that moment, you know that, hey, they've got 4 players alive. They're all around the objective. We got to rush. We got to rush. We got to rush. And it just felt like they didn't really do that. They know that they were going to have to give away a few ticks regardless, remain composed, and at least they're able to secure a round victory. But like you said, big job to do now coming into this next offense. They have to grab a decent amount of segments, and so far, it is Sib basically by himself in the middle side of the map. Feels like he's been seeing quite a bit of success on 4 in a row. See if his teammates can start to break their way through the top side of the map, looking to get from kitchen into the diner, as his life will go bye-bye. Toronto continue to win these favorable fights.
This is tough, man, because Inside, he was the only player left at that 8 point. There were a couple players there from Seattle that were trying to take him down, but he shuts down that push. Now Seattle are forced to try to break through the B. They do win the trade gunfights. No one in a position to at least take them off for now. Great shots coming in from Sid to take down that player towards mid-arch. Kleenex does find 2, and the pinch is going to be in from Standy. He does get red, but it's only 30 seconds left. Seattle have to get on a point, and fortunately for them, a couple players spawn over towards A. They should be able to stop that clock.
Yeah, they're just going to go back to Old Faithful, right? That's what it's like when it comes in a hotel. Feels like A is the zone that you can pretty much rely on a decent amount of the time. However, we couldn't say that for Seattle really in that first round. Considering they were able to grab B early, never were able to break into A. And that is the reason why Toronto has that 1 next to their name as Mack looks to clean house. A objective captured, another minute added on to the clock. And really, it's a matter of if they can get Standy out of this position. They've got 4 members strong, now headed to the base of Ultra.
Oh, that's a big kill if CleanX to pick it up. Reads it beautifully. Oh, gets some COD timing right there. Not able to spot it. Sib with the great shots, able to rip him off of that heady. Standy fills that gap. So far, Toronto Ultra doing what they need to do. Watching that overextension, but the player that can break it all is going to be Pred. He finds himself towards checkout desk, and Nate is going to give up his positioning. Oh. And CleanX finds that kill. Big kill.
Big one indeed. Just trying to wipe out the Aussie from your base. Gotta really look both ways before crossing, it feels like, when it comes out of his positioning. And currently for Seattle, bit of the slow game, right? We start to slow things down for a moment, trying to find those picks, and Standy could be the one, the thorn in their side. You know somebody's going to be on the objective, takes him down, and goes right back into bottom bedroom. The perfect type of play, really, for Ultra right now. Need him to continue to be a menace. He eventually gets found out. Next line of defense is going to be Scrappy. He wins his one. 25 seconds left. Something has to be done for Seattle Surge, as they've yet to get a full-on segment over at B. As we said, that's going to come in big for the future of this game. Every segment meaning that much more.
I'm pretty sure they're at least able to complete one, so that's job well done by them. We still have one player on the point, which is going to be Accuracy. He gets taken down, and now 11-2 in lives remaining. Scrap finds another one through the middle of the map, all left up to Pred. I know he's a great player, but 11 guys that you got to try to take down if you want to win this round. It's not going to do it. So Seattle Surge, even though they do not win the round, they put themselves up by 2 segments, and I know that's not easy, especially when you have to give up one of these points if they do take full control. So Seattle just have to try to hold strong. Probably a 2-2 split. Obviously, you don't want to give it that B push right off the rip, but it's all about these initial gunfights if you want to try to secure that defense going into round number 5.
Yeah, I'm always kind of curious, too, when we have a map like Hotel, right? A control map where it feels like, you know, one zone's going to be more favored than the other. Like, do you try, knowing that you have the advantage, to still go for the risky strats? Or, as I said, you just go back to Old Faithful. It feels like for Toronto, they're going to go for that standard push, right? Because if they're able to get those 3 ticks, the advantage that only continues to give them playing the long game up 2-1, but aware of the fact that this very well could be a round 5 on our hands. As we head into A, nice and quick, a lovely little Sunday stroll as Toronto go back to business. Current nice little streak as well, being granted from the ARs, as they're trying to set up a decent sized pinch. Seattle swarmed right now inside of that B zone, trying to clear their way on out of it. This could get dirty. This could get very scary quickly.
This is a beautiful play from Toronto. They only had one player on that A point the entire time. You had Scrap trying to slowly work his way through bedroom, and everyone else was just trying to set up this pinch towards B. So now the sole focus for Seattle has to be slowing down this B pressure. You still have somewhat better control as Brett finds himself towards top plat, but he's going to get taken down. Now it all falls into the hands of Accuracy. 2 players are going to be towards top desk. They're all going to be spawning out towards back spa, but no players from Toronto Ultra in a position to at least get towards Standy in quickness. Unfortunately, that push gets shut down, but they do close out A, so they guarantee themselves defense in round number 5, just in case we get there, but they're still up by 3 lives.
It's just beautiful play, man. Oh, God, insight. Okay, just shuts down Pred.
Got an airstrike, too.
He's going to have that streak, but like I said, he's just hanging out over at that A objective, and it felt like Seattle were having headaches just trying to deal with 3 players. An excellent start to this round for Toronto. And really, as we talk about on Hotel, it is all about bedroom when it comes down to B. Standy, there's no way, right? Okay, no way to say. There's no way he's able to style and find that kill. Inside eventually called the move from really his statued placement as he drops. Seattle do wipe the board for the moment. Minute 15 on the clock. We'll see what Toronto look to do. Fred all out aggressive. He drops. Now it's called upon to Sib to make the plays.
A minute and 10 on the clock. Sib watching overextended through kitchen. Puts Standy in a tight corner. Takes him down with the Semtex, but the trade does come in from CleanX. So now he's going to potentially spawn Sib all the way across the map. The flank is now going to be open. So CleanX, he might have just made that impactful play. He's going to cut right back to the middle of the map. I would have liked to see him hit the long route, but he also does find that kill onto Pred. So now your sole focus is taking out Accuracy from bedroom because he's the guy that can cause you problems.
Accuracy as well, trying to be a thorn in the side. Mack makes things a little bit easier with that pick. Tom Cool collected from the Iceman, and Pred is Going to handle business at the end of the day. 30 seconds left. Toronto, again, have that defense secured for round 5, but can they get it done here? Sib pulling out the Vaznev, just trying to pepper up Toronto, make their life that much more difficult as they begin to rush, begin to run on in toward that B objective. Few players trying to make a play toward the back. It's going to be called on to Pred. Can he find one? No, he does not. That's going to be one. Make it 2 for Scrappy. Rushing on in, Accuracy and Sib, the last few players alive toward the objective. Sib able to find one, puts in the other. 0.8 on the clock. Inside is alive, but only for a second. Toronto, a very, very close call toward the end of that round as Seattle survive and send us to a round 5.
Just great holds, especially from the SMG players on the side of Seattle. Accuracy just stayed in towards bottom lights for like a minute, uncontested. It's just so difficult when you're Toronto Ultra, consistently spawning over at Kitchen to hit that rotation back, check every single corner. And unfortunately, the corner you don't check, that's where Accuracy was sitting. Plays his life beautifully towards that bedroom side, allows for his teammates, even if they're dropping, to trade efficiently. No need to panic. We still have great map control as they clutch up on that defensive round, round number 5. Now Seattle need to respond on the attack.
See what they can do. Make it pretty standard stuff when it comes down to A. And it appears that they will. Want to get this one off the board. Really just give yourself as much time as possible, right? When it comes down to that B zone. Try to get 2 minutes on the clock. Work with what you can. Sib is sent forward. Just trying to clear the lanes. Anything that you can get. Any little advantage for Surge. They're going to do their best to try to find it. That's going to be another one coming in for the sophomore. All calm, cool, collected so far for Seattle. The time has paused. And right now they're making this look easy, Jay.
Yeah, Seattle, they're doing the same exact strategy that Toronto were trying to do in that previous attack round. Have one person on this point. Everybody else play your kills. Try to play for a little bit more map control as Toronto fully going to give this one up. You have Scrap watching that overextension. But this is where Seattle have to calm down. They know they do not have bedroom control. They cannot push around the back. And Scrap's going to sneak his way up, find that 2-piece, and now this is going to slow down that pressure just a little bit.
Now it kind of becomes the waiting game. Really becomes the waiting game. Standing, he's been here all game long, and really his long-range shots with the Vaznev have been excellent. It's the SMGs trying to clear things out. As Mack is at least able to find one. Again, it is Standy. Nearly finds the third, but it's the trades that Toronto were looking for. First wave down.
First wave down. Hold strong at bedroom. Minute and 45 to work with, so there's a lot of time. Big opening kill from Pred to take control of top. It's just 2 more players that now you have to focus. You see Sib hitting that rotation back. He does pop that dead silence. So inside, he's not going to get any information, but across the map, Standy is just shutting down that pressure from the back, and it's just difficult. It's difficult if you're not able to find a 2 or 3 down in favor of your squad. It's very difficult to try to attack any of these points.
You got one SMG watching the back. You got another SMG clearing out top. Ben! Oh, I thought that was surely going to go the way of Cleanex. But both of them fall in a matter of moments in Seattle with a sense of urgency. Realize this could be their opening at that B objective. However, one player still remains in the back. That's going to be Insight. Pred trying to do some work from the front. Same thing for Sib. There are a few players out from this desk. A few members down. And like we said, one more in the back. And that's really what's been causing problems for them. Knowing that Insight's back here, they could just try to avoid him or wait for him to strike. Here comes the streak. Insight at least able to clear one off of the point, so the time will kick away. The objective, maybe even the gunfight beginning to come into play. 35 seconds left. Toronto looking to try to make this a solid hold as here comes Toronto again.
And Insight did die. Insight did not die. He calls in that airstrike. He finds a kill. So now it's final 25 seconds. Seattle have to make their last hurrah. Insight still causing problems from top plat, so the pressure's going to be on the flank and through the middle of the map. Standing in a great position, at least takes down the second. You see the spawns for the Seattle Surge all the way across at Kitchen. They need a miracle.
They do indeed. My feet just disappeared, but it's back. Oh, it's back. We're good. Scrap, trying to stay alive. Final few seconds. Can they get onto the objective? And no, they will not. Toronto come up with another clutch hold. Excellent work from the team in the end. And a big W in the books. Their first time on Hotel. And it looks strong, Jay. It looks strong indeed. A great performance from a multitude of players. It felt like everybody had their moment. Scrappy puts up the numbers. Same thing for Standy. But I'll tell you what, man, Insight was a thorn in the side of Seattle for those last minute and a half. But they could not get rid of him in order to make the full push at the B zone.
Brother, the guy only died 16 times. Look at everyone else's deaths in the kill death department. Everyone's around 28 or 20 more. It's insane stuff from Insight to just value his life the way that he did. He caused so many problems. He found his way into his bottom bedroom with about a minute and 45. He didn't die for the rest of that round. Great plays from Insight. Even when 3 of his teammates dropped, Seattle were able to get on the point. He invests his streak instead of shooting his gun. Still don't know where Insight is. He finds at least 1 kill. Now you allow your teammates to get back into the play. Then Seattle, they check the corner, but unfortunately he's sitting really deep in that corner. He finds another kill onto accuracy and then just continues to push out. Made the game so damn difficult for any Seattle Surge players to try to fight for bedroom control as they're consistently spawning at kitchen. Toronto Ultra, their setups was just a little too strong on that defensive end. Now take a 2-1 commanding lead in the series.
And that's impressive, right? I mean, we know Seattle Surge, especially last year, Jay, this team, how great they were on attacks, how great they were. And on Tuscan, for example, back in Vanguard, right? When you had more of a difficult zone to capture in comparison for A and B, like this team just feels like they hit a new gear when they're at the more disadvantageous side in the swing mode of game number 3. But Toronto, they remain composed. And it's just another layer, man. It really is. It's just another layer that impresses you from this new Toronto roster. It feels like they're making strides every single series, right? They cut down Atlanta FaZe yesterday, and right now they're handling business currently versus the Seattle Surge in a spot where this team often does see success. They hold it down in a multitude of ways, up 2-1 in the series, and now back-to-back victories. As we head back to the hotel, brother, we're not leaving this one.
Yeah, we're not leaving. We're going into a hotel hardpoint, and just to touch a little bit more on Toronto Ultra, their teamwork right now is really good. You saw it in that search and destroy. We had the buddy system. Hey, I'm gonna have your back just in case we don't get traded. And even in that control, remember that play where Standy goes out when they were capturing that B point? He just gets 1 kill and then dives right back into bottom bedroom. He knows the big picture. He knows exactly what he needs to do. Get that 1 kill, and just staying alive on that side of the map is what's gonna win you that map. Great plays from Toronto Ultra to know exactly what was needed to close out that map number 3. Now it goes into this hard point. We had a banger of a hard point in the map number 1, and I'm expecting nonetheless in map number 4.
I am too, buddy. I am too. You look for Seattle to play better when it comes down to the hard points. Again, I mean, it's a worrisome sight. You're going to have to rely, possibly, if you win this hard point, on that game 5 search destroy. I don't want to get too ahead by any stretch of the imagination, but who do you look out for, I guess, when it comes down to Seattle Surge? We know the players. We know the big heavy hitters in hardpoint. Are you looking at those 2 guys in Pred and Sib, or are you looking at the other 2 to go big here?
No, I'm not even looking at the other 2. I'm looking at one player specifically, and that's going to be accuracy. This is a guy who can change the game. If accuracy is playing his life, hitting that early rotation, winning massive gunfights off the rotation, the game is going to be a lot easier because you know what Sib, you know what Mack, and you know what Pred are going to do. They're going to go out there and get theirs. But the one thing you need to focus on is making sure you're allowing your team to have the favorable side for a majority of these hills. Same way you did it on that map number 1 at a kitchen when you got that 3-piece, you need to do it again, especially on a map like Hotel where you can get punished really quickly.
Yeah, and it feels like for Toronto, man, like, well, I forget how many hard points that they've lost, but like 3 of them have been 4 and 5 in total, whoever knows, but like 3 of them have been really in situations where they probably should have won. Like those 2 versus Atlanta, the last one here versus Seattle for game number 1 on aBeZy. I think that you don't necessarily get terrified, when it comes down to Hotel necessarily, but you really do want to see Toronto come out swinging, not be in these late game type of situations. But into the game 4 we go. Really has not been the series that you'd like to see so far from Sib. He's a little bit slow out of the gate to the map 1 and really turned things up a bit in that control, but it really was the Scrappy show. And I believe Scrappy, by the way, like tied the overall
record.
Kill record for a single map at 39. We've got multiple players on it. I think it's HyDra, Brack, and now Scrappy tied for it. We'll see if somebody can hit that illustrious 40 bomb as we jump into our 4th map here of the series. And Seattle send it to 5, or is this where we call it curtains here for Toronto?
And Toronto Ultra already starting off on the better foot because this P1 hill is the only hill that they are negative on this map. negative by 33 points. They're basically giving up a lot of time off of P1, but to start off on the better side. Now Seattle Surge are just going to think big picture. They know how impactful that P2 rotation can be. But Toronto do a great job of just winning these trade gunfights. Now that's going to be 3 dead. Now you need to step up on the aggression. Unfortunately, standing turns at the wrong time. And Seattle Surge still trying to hold on to those back spawns.
Insight goes for the dolphin dive, like we said. Aware of the value when it comes down to those spawns for P2. It has been 30 so far uncontested for Toronto. A Surge finally able to dip a toe in, and right now Prad's gonna have to put on his best anchored AR. Does a great job to clear out the backside. So finally Seattle able to put a few on the board. We'll see how Toronto elect to break this. They actually did a great job on this particular hill versus Atlanta just days ago. We'll see how Seattle handle it now.
Oh, nice trades going back and forth, but still going to be Seattle with the favorable spawns. Standing does take down accuracy off point, but when you're spawning in towards the back, it's a lot quicker to get towards that point. Neither one of these squads are getting any time. Mack is going to potentially take down Insight, but KiSMET is able to find that kill. So Toronto Ultra, they get the break. Now it's all about the rotation. It's going to be on Insight versus Sib. Whoever can win this one-on-one can change the game right now.
See how it eventually goes. Fred doing a great job. It does get cleared out. As you said, one of the more influential fights. As Sib is able to take it. Seattle, do you have to be careful, though, with pushing up as far as they are for spawns. Spread continues bottom right side of your screen. A field day. Like you said, he is just walking everywhere around the hotel. Not a problem at all right now for last year's Rookie of the Year. Mack in the back. They do give that one up. This is the easier side to break it from when it comes down to kitchen. Toronto are here. They're knocking on the door. Accuracy eventually arrives. Let's see what he can do with it. A few stragglers from Toronto still looming. And yeah, Fred, that streak is alive and well, Jay.
Yep, earns that airstrike. Already 11-3. He knows the layout of the hotel, exactly where the vending machines are, where he wants to get his soda. The guy has it basically tattooed on his body. As now Seattle have held this kitchen hill down to the T. A full 60 hold is now going to force Toronto Ultra off that rotation. They have a couple bodies here as well. So Toronto Ultra, you need to win these gunfights. These are massive, and they come out on top in the trades. 2 down. Sid, last player up.
Thankfully able to do so. Toronto Ultra fans, I'm sure, try to be cautious as we get toward the later stages of this game. As we mentioned, they had that very, very close series versus Atlanta FaZe. As they look to lock things down here over at the bar. Currently a vacant hill, and that's because the streak happens to be inbounds. Tell you what, Jay, that precision just sounds absolutely terrifying. I don't know where that sound comes from, but it is scary. And Seattle do a great job to try to rush in from the front. Scrap the soul man in the back line. C is receiving tactical after tactical. Simp Texas stuns everything in the kitchen sink, tossed at his feet. Seattle rushed in through the front, and now they've got the time.
And that's a beautiful break right there, especially for Mack to just slowly find that kill through middle arch. He sets up the pinch, and now Seattle Surge are doing a great job of just trapping him in the back. Look at the spawns for Toronto Ultra. They will not have their rotation towards next. In fact, if she can get this remaining time, that's even better. But Toronto Ultra is right now playing from the back foot. Seattle Surge not making any mistakes off rotation. They break in when they need to. And they also got a guy named Pred, who's almost at 20 kills already. He's going nuts.
And we said that somebody's going to go for the illustrious 40 bomb. KiSMET, by the way, is just having a great time making his way throughout the restaurant, sliding between the pews. They look to lock things down. Great job up to this point, trying to limit Pred the best way that they can. Sweat off the brow. Toronto, they've gotten rid of the Aussie. And Seattle Surge still knocking at the door. Spawns will flip for the moment. And Scrap lying in waiting. Trade after trade. In Toronto, they've got him.
This is a beautiful break at the start of this hill. I thought Seattle, they put themselves in a great position, but when you lose a couple gunfights off rotation, Ultra are gonna take it. They were able to hold down this Diner Hill, get themselves right back into this game. Now off the rotation towards P6, towards back plat. Insight does take down the first. Challenges the second onto Mack. Great shots. He's going to be one shot. So Scrap should be in a position to at least find that trade. But right now, Toronto Ultra have flipped this game on its head by taking control of the lead and taking control of the spawns. Should get some initial time here.
Look good to do so. Toronto able to clear out a few, get rid of that trophy. You never want to see those, especially we've seen a few players die so far at MW2 from those trophies. You got to be careful. You got to check your corners, make sure those things are out of the way. The Scrap continues to go on a nice little spree. That's 5 in a row for him. Great work coming in from the rookie as he and Standy currently on 10 in a row. Trying to only add toward this spree right now, make it 6. Toronto comes screaming back in this game and look to have a hefty lead as Parking Lot is 25 away.
Parking Lot is 25 away. Toronto Ultra, they have blown this game wide open. Let's step aside real quick. Let's check in with the listening with the Toronto boys.
He's couches. I think he's
I'm looking at my
couches.
front on. Couch is weak. Couch is weak. One might be cube or connector. Let's take our time. Work fucking kills. You were connector, guys.
He's double pillars.
Pillars, absolute pillars. Sir.
I see you work aside.
What's it? Oh, nice. Those
Stay left,
pillars,
okay.
That's two. There's two on the
Go
left.
P5 with me, Jimmy, okay?
He's on the
Let's
P5.
triple P5. Let's triple P5. I'll dive out and stun out.
Left side, dead!
Nice.
Hey,
Shit, stay left, Scump.
Last
Ready, Jimmy?
I'm heading
No
off.
pillars, scrap. No pillars.
No pillars. Our side connector.
Our side connector. I don't see him.
Come, let's go connect one of the week.
I have you.
End double pillars. Connector dead. No one-shot connector. Double pillars. Standing double pillars. Standing double pillars. Keep finessing, Toby. Let you clear your life.
You have to run me. Dead.
Two pillars, one lamps, one pillars.
I'm waiting.
Lamps and
pillars.
Lamps, I can't wallbang
I'm
him.
in the lobby.
Left side in the corner.
Double pillars, one lamps. Lamps dead. Nice double pillars.
Carry him.
I have D1, D2. I'm playing D1, D2.
I don't see lamps. I don't see
Soak
lamps.
this time. Just soak this fucking time.
He's double pillars going engine. Sip. Engine.
One cat now, dead.
Try and go deep, maybe. I spawn P5, bro. They're
Just
gonna
let me
spawn
D1,
in.
D2.
There's one new. Go help him, Scrap, right?
I'm just holding D1, D2.
Soak that.
One guy's tops on me.
I got it.
One guy's tops for sure.
These Toronto boys are firing. You're starting to hear Scrappy get loud in the comms. Let's check in with the other side. Seattle down, but not out. Check in now with Seattle.
I have one shot. I got time. One's one on me, okay?
I'm holding hard.
I got first go left. I got one right.
I'm holding hard.
Blue, fucking. I'm still holding Dior.
Help him right.
Can they cross out?
Yeah,
I'm marching the cross to the right. They have
Heavy art inside stun.
Can you guys get my Blue and pond.
Blue and left.
Blue and pond.
Blue got me. I'm wrapping pond.
Blue on the stairs.
We're pitching. Give me 2 seconds.
On the stairs, dead.
That's one shot. C4 dead.
Nice, that's full. I'm getting out.
Yeah, we can chain this right here.
I'm going mid alley. They're gonna spawn couches now.
I'm pushing back. Yeah, they spawned on you. They spawned on you in the back. I'll see him back here.
Back pond.
They spawned there, huh?
Yeah, there's two old.
Yeah, they're on the road.
Alright, nothing. You should push out.
I got one pond.
I'm holding bread, Dante.
Alright, I'm pushing on the right, bro. One more on the right, that's dead.
Nice, I'm holding bread. I have all the mid. They can't go mid. Half time.
They can't go pond. They can't go middle left.
Being carried.
Alright, got Eddie Standy. Okay, it's the first guy. One's on ult.
I'm not playing the back. I'm playing the back. I'm sitting in the corner here. I
just spawned mid-map.
Yeah, I'm playing.
And the communication right there from Seattle was on point. They got a clean 4 dead, but then they were a little bit too aggressive and allowed all of Toronto Ultra to basically spawn in the back for free, get that remaining 20 to 25 seconds, and getting closer and closer to the 250-point mark. So now if you are Seattle, you have to hold strong. You got a full 60 on Kitchen the first time around. You got to do it again.
Use everything in your power. Use everything that you can. Pots, pans, whatever it is. Use everything to your advantage possible. As Pred sprints on forward, it's now on to accuracy. And he's able to take down another. Seattle Surge, we said it had to be a full 60, and right now it's looking like it. Slowly but surely, inching their way back into this game. Scrap trying to fire through the kitchen walls. They know where accuracy's hiding. Can they drop them? That's going to be 2. They break on in, and there you have it for Toronto, getting closer and closer to that 250-second mark. Surge, it has got to be perfect, clean, confident hardpoint from this point out. 8 seconds away.
8 seconds away. Toronto just needs one break. A lot of pressure coming in through mid-arch. Simp does find the first. As that's going to be 3 down. Seattle doing a great job. The last player is going to be Standy. You got to know where he is. You cannot allow this guy to break your setup. As with him just playing his life the way that he is, he's stalling time for his teammates to get back into the play. Simp's not worried about it, though. Great shots to take down the first accuracy with the crossfire. Another 3 down. Seattle are doing everything they can to fight back into this game. Final 35.
All the Kleenex. He's able to drop the first. Toronto trying to wipe out a few players as they make their way into the objective. As we said, 7 seconds. That's all it takes. But Seattle continuing to build a bit of momentum. However, one more player left inside of the objective. It's going to have to be Pred. We saw some magic in moments like this last season. Can he give us another? Not going to happen here. Toronto, they can win it on this hard point. Trying to contest for as long as possible. They've got the tick. They've got the tick, Seattle. They've got to jump in. Pred is here. He'll contest. Now we head toward the restaurant. Another hold that's going to have to be immaculate. As here comes Kleenex. He will fall. Simp Simp holding the line, waiting for his teammates to come off a spawn.
Simp just gotta stay alive. Keep in mind that Scrap does have that airstrike to work with. This is a perfect time to call it in. Standy is gonna be able to find 2 through carpet.
Oh!
That's gonna be 2 and a team kill.
That should be it. That should be it. They break it and they win it. Toronto Ultra giving some words to Scrappy. Hype to close out this game. Toronto Ultra, just days ago, this hill was the bane of their existence. It caused headaches, nightmares even. But they make good on it this time. It is a break versus Seattle toward the stretch. And my goodness, were these respawns close. Toronto come back with some fury. And my goodness, what a performance it was all series long, Jay. As well for the new additions, Scrappy and Standy. 28 for either side. Damage, hill time, whatever you'd like. A great performance from those two as Toronto Ultra close out our Major I qualifiers 3-1.
That is a scary duo of Scrappy and Standy. Both putting up 28 kills. A lot of damage coming in from Scrap. He went on like a 9-spree in the middle of that hard point. I think that's when the game started to turn on its head. Seattle did a great job the second rotation at that P4. But once they got broken at Diner Hill, that is unacceptable. That is where Ultra were able to hold that down and then chain it all the way towards back plat, grow the lead by almost 100. And then when you got closer and closer towards the ending of this game, Seattle, they had a great hold on P2. But then they get 4 dead and they were a little bit too aggressive, give the free spawns to Ultra in the back, so they were able to get that final 20. Then you rotate over towards Kitchen. You hold the initial push, you hold it down for about 30 seconds, but Ultra, they knew that they had to at least force a couple players off that early rotation. Only 2 players left from Seattle in towards Kitchen. They take them 2 down. They get another 15 to 20 seconds. If Seattle would have potentially hold down some of those money hills to the full time, I know it's very difficult at the very end of these crucial games because you had to send players off the rotation. You don't want to bite yourself in the back end, especially when you're not fully set up for the next one. But Toronto Ultra, they made the adjustments. They knew exactly what they needed to do, got the remaining junk time, a bunch of these money hills, and were able to close out a very, very close series. Congratulations to them, and they avoid that 2-2 gauntlet. No 2-2 gauntlet for Toronto Ultra.
They're able to survive what is going to be, I'm sure, a very intriguing conversation for the rest of the day. But New York down, Atlanta down, and the same thing for Seattle as Toronto go on a nice little winning spree to close out their qualifier campaign. That's going to do it for myself and Jay as we headed on over to the desk. Pocket team, what'd you make of that one?
Thank you, you handsome gentlemen. It's time to break this one down, starting with that game number 4. And I have to say, I could watch Hardpoint between Toronto and Seattle all year long and be a happy man with Call of Duty this year. A great series between these two teams, but it's Toronto who comes out with the 3-1. And aLLeY, this is our first team other than the Røkkr that is looking like they're guaranteed that number 1 spot. They locked it in with this game 4 victory.
They really did, and honestly, they did it in such a way that they look incredible as a team heading into Raleigh in these 2 hard points, especially. Like, the ending of that Seattle surge started to play perfect COD, and Toronto snatched it right back out from them. They said, we're not allowing this comeback to happen. And I have to say, especially that scrappy 9 spree to break that plat hill into the P1. You could hear it in the comms. Use like, Toby, stay down, play your life, just stay alive, stay where I need you while I get these clears over your head. And that's what got them the win in the end.
Scrappy caught fire throughout this, but Nameless, you were walking me through some of the big mini-map plays that Standy was making throughout this series. What is it about the new face on Toronto that has given them a lot of confidence?
Man, I can't say enough good things about Standy. This guy, if you're paying attention to the minimap, the routes and plays that he is making are game-changing plays. This guy is on the early rotation every single time. He's being a nuisance in their base, and even on that map 1, the guy was making moves, staying alive for about a minute and a half. I love what I'm seeing from this Toronto Ultra team, Puckett. I think they're the most complete, most sound team headed into the major, and after this match, they're my favorite to take it all. They look absurd.
Most complete, most sound team
Absolutely.
in the CDL right now?
Everybody is doing what they need to do on the map. The players are popping off when they need to. Insight in the control. We're seeing Standy and Scrappy in the hard points. The search and destroy is chef's kiss. This team looks great.
All right, well, right now we have Insight on the phone. Let's bring him in live to headquarters. Insight, congratulations. You guys just locked up the top spot in your pool. And I have to ask, how close was this series? Because statistically, it looked like a nail-biter. Did it feel that way being in-game?
Yeah, you know, Seattle is such a good team. You know, they've got that chem. Obviously, we're a team that's still building chem, and like every map there just felt like a battle. Nothing was like free. So, you know, it just feels great to get that win.
Congratulations, a huge win indeed to end this split going 3-1. So now you are possibly in contention for that top seed, and I'm sure you guys knew that heading in as well. Did that add a little bit of pressure or fire into this series? And is there any teams you want to have in your pool?
Honestly, with the seeding thing, we went into the series just like any other, where it was like, you know, we just got to focus up and play our game and come out strong. And, you know, we did that. For the team that we want to play, I mean, just give us anyone. We'll play anyone. We're not scared of anyone, you know.
I love that, Jamie. You guys are looking great out there in that control. I seen you bottom bedroom popping off. I want to ask you, you know, this is a new squad. You've been on the Toronto Ultra that's been cool, calm, and collected, but has struggled in hardpoint over the years. Now, with this team, there's a lot more energy. The respawn looks so much better. Do you think you can attribute that to the energy of the new players?
Yeah, you know, I always say to Scrap, he's got that puppy energy, but you know, in game he brings that that fire. You know, he just wants to win, he wants to prove himself. And then you've got Toby and iLLeY, who just, I mean, man, they just run around and slay. And I'm just stood there with my feet up most of the time, just like, all right, yeah, just pick up this, pick up that, go run at that. So, I mean, yeah, it's just great. Youngsters just running around doing their thing, and they just want to prove themselves.
Insight, you guys are now 3-1, but there is a huge pack on our leaderboard that's stuck at 2-2. Why do you think the teams are all so tight here in our first 2 weeks of the game?
I honestly put it down to, like, obviously the league started a little bit early, teams still figuring stuff out, and I feel like the best way to learn stuff is through matches. You know, you'd like to see how people are playing in matches, and you know, sometimes losing can be beneficial and learning from it. So, but also this league's just so competitive. Like, all the teams are just so good right now.
Best of the best from around the world, all playing here in the Call of Duty League. You are amongst them, but I have to ask you used to have the best mustache in the CDL. Now Scump is coming in for the title. How do you feel about this challenger?
I mean, it's the king, you know. I guess I have to step to him and have a word with him at the major, but, you know, been growing out for November. I don't know if I should keep it or not.
It looks good, brother. Doing it for a great cause. Let's get it at least to Christmas. I'm here for it. Insight, thank you for joining us, and stay on the stream because you're going to like this next segment. It's time for our Scuff play of the game, and it's going to feature that young man. Insight was making the big brain play. Study called it out. Just 16 deaths when they went to control because this man was playing his life at the most crucial times, Ann.
Oh, so yeah, we got his perspective here. You know, I was actually kind of criticizing him for a second when we were watching it because his team started to fall, and he was just sitting bottom bedroom the entire time. But the man was popping off, dude. Like, he was doing exactly what he needed to do. On the defense for Toronto Ultra, it wasn't just him, though. It was him and Standy both getting into the bedroom, finessing, playing their lives. They had a pretty good stand when Seattle was triple stacked onto the point where Standy flew out, got a kill. Insight comes in for the immediate trade. Just good communication overall from everyone.
aBeZy, final thoughts here on the Seattle Surge. It's Toronto who is walking away with the W. We know they're going to be at the top of their group, whichever one it is. However, Seattle Surge still up in the air now with a 1-3 record.
0-5 in Search and Destroy. That's really all I have to say when it comes to the Seattle Surge. They need to hit the lab and hit the lab fast, especially with playing Fortress S&D.